he went in the closet and grabbed the gun. So, and I was like, you're not gonna do nothing. And he was like, matter of fact, get out. I said, you can't put me out. I can't run here. So he was like, you getting out of my house? Like, are you really trying to provoke me? And every single time he's stepping closer and closer to me. Are you really trying to provoke me? Are you trying to provoke me? I'll kill you. You'll really lose your life in here.
The question that everybody wants to know is, why didn't this girl just take her 6-year-old and leave, give this man time to cool off? He asked her 9 times to get out of his house.
Girlfriend in here acting crazy and flew up the house. I just wanted to get out the house. I don't want no problems.
Even the police tried to persuade her.
For me, if I was in a situation that wasn't good for me, I would want to get out.
She still refused to leave. An hour after the police left, he shot her dead, shot her 6-year-old dead, and then killed himself.
Thirty-five-year-old Carlisha Wood was just released from jail yesterday afternoon. She spent about 6 days in jail. Her son spent the same amount of time in a juvenile detention center. Ms. Hood was visibly emotional as she appeared at this news conference with her attorneys by her side. They filed a lawsuit on her behalf against the city of Chicago and responding officers as well. Her attorneys said that Ms. Hood and her son were wrongfully arrested by Chicago police on June 21st and then wrongfully charged as well with murder. It wasn't until this video was released before the deadly encounter that charges were dropped. The video shows 32-year-old Jeremy Brown yelling at Ms. Hood and then repeatedly punching her in the head. And then Hood's 14-year-old son shot Brown in the back in what appears to be self-defense.
Yes, it was an obvious rush to judgment. They wrongfully arrested her. And I don't want to go into great detail. And you don't have to be a lawyer to appreciate and recognize that when a woman is violently attacked by a man, an unarmed woman, that she shouldn't be arrested.
And attorneys for Ms. Hood say the man who attacked her, 32-year-old Jeremy Brown, was a documented violent criminal. They say that he had a current order of protection pending against him at the time. He had a documented criminal history for being violent against African-American women as well. Now, attorneys say they plan on having another news conference soon once the lawsuit moves forward. But for now, they are helping Ms. Hood and her son obtain therapy from what they say was a very traumatizing experience.
Shalom, sister, shalom. All praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Hamashiach Wa Malak Yahushai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. This video is for sisters that more so, are in the world that may not know that they're a Hebrew Israelite according to the Bible and the word of the Lord. I had to post those 2 clips because it was just weighing heavy on my spirit how our women are so destroyed for a lack of knowledge. A lot of our women don't know how to hold themselves accountable in situations. I see a lot of, I read the comments in a lot of those videos about the woman that just got punched by that man in the store, the lady who just lost her life and her daughter's life by the hand of that man. Everybody's saying, oh, it's victim blaming. Our women need to start holding themselves accountable. So when you're in a situation, you always have the opportunity, if you make it out alive, to look in the mirror and say, well, what could I have done better? And that's what a lot of our women fail to do. And they hate looking in the mirror, holding themselves accountable for the things that they do. It's not called victim blaming. It's called, I need to do better and I could have done better doing this. Okay, this 2 Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Hamashiach Yahushai is in you, except ye be reprobates. So you have to be able to examine yourself. Improve yourself. You have to examine yourself. Okay, look, this situation happened. what could I have done better in this situation? Okay, and that's perfectly normal and fine to do. It's okay to say, look, I was wrong. I should have handled a situation a little bit better. And I'm going to give y'all my opinion on the situation with both of those situations. I feel like as a mother, if someone's harming you, especially when you're with your children, you should immediately leave the situation. You should not stay to antagonize someone. You should not stay, well, I'm going to get all my stuff first. No, you just need to leave. Just leave. It's okay to leave a situation and then come back with someone else. I know a lot of people call the police when they want to go back and get their stuff when they're in domestic violence situations. I'm touching on the topic with the young lady with her baby, the baby father, or I think that was her boyfriend. He told her to leave. He said, get out of my house. He said, get out of my house. She didn't get out of the house. She did not leave. He threatened her life and she still stayed. This lady was in the line getting food. This man threatened her life by punching her, by trying to fight her, and she still stayed. It's okay to know when to walk away from a situation. You don't have to go back and forth and be combative, especially, I'm not arguing with no man. I'm not about to go back and forth with no man about nothing. Nobody, I'm not about to do that. All right, because you're not about to harm me. You're not about to cut me up. You're not about to shoot me. You're not about to do nothing crazy to me. Lord willing. All right. And I truly feel like that situation, both of those situations, both of those women could have saved their lives if they knew when to walk away. Okay. 25. Agree with thy adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. So it's okay to agree with your adversary, someone that you're in conflict with, someone that you're going back and forth with. It's okay to agree with them, and that's using wisdom. Although you might feel that someone is wrong, it's okay to say, hey, you know what? You got it. You told me to leave your house. Psh, you got it. You told me that you're going to punch me or harm me while my kid is in the car. You got it. I'm out. It's okay to agree with them quickly. And it don't say quickly for no reason, meaning that you're trying to de-escalate a situation. Yeah, they was wrong. Should he have killed that girl himself and her baby? No. Should that man have put his hands on her? No. You know, that's just the curses of our people. Our people are at odds because of the curses that the Lord placed upon us because we refuse to keep the commandments. We want to do whatever we want to do. Because our people are real stiff-necked and prideful. This is Ecclesiasticus 10 and 13. For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that hath it shall pour out abomination. And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly. And this is what happened. This is what happens to a lot of our women because of pride. And I could touch on men, we could touch on brothers, but my channel is strictly for sisters to get themselves together through the Spirit. And because a lot of our women are so prideful, they bring forth sin. They bring forth that sin. They bring forth certain things happening to them that could have been avoided. But sisters are so prideful that they don't know how to walk away from situations, and they always want to be right. And therefore, a lot of the times, the Lord brings upon strange calamities on a lot of sisters. It's a strange calamity for your son to have to actually take your 14-year-old son to have to take another man's life and live with that for the rest of his life. It's a strange calamity for your daughter, for you and your daughter to be killed because you didn't know how to leave a man's house. Those are strange calamities. In a lot of these situations, I always see a lot of sisters are being overthrown by the Lord because of their pride. It's not worth it. If someone's harming you, if someone's trying to argue with you, it's okay to leave the situation. Proverbs 21 and 23, whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles. So if those sisters would have just kept their mouth and held their tongue, it would have kept their souls from troubles. That mother would have saved her life and her daughter's life. That mother would have prevented her son from shooting and killing a man, for them being locked up for a whole week, for them having to face, Lord forbid, any type of retaliation from that other man's family, from him suffering any type of PTSD from shooting that man at a young age, that being with his name for the rest of his life. They could have kept their soul from troubles if they kept their mouth and their tongue. This is James 3 and 5. Even so, the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. So that tongue, even though it was little, it can start a fire. It can say something out your mouth, and then all hell break loose. And that's what happened with the woman and with both of these women. And let's go back and actually look at the situation where she just could not stop talking. She just could not be silent. And a lot of women were saying in the comments, why should she have to be quiet? Why should she have to, she was getting her food. She could have stayed there. Okay, that's what a lot of women think. That's crazy. That's actually very bugged out. Okay, that's not according to the word of the Lord. All right, but let's go back and look to see that she wasn't quiet.
Get your food! Move, get it up! Move! Get your food! Get your food!
See, she kept talking. She kept talking, and it led her getting into even more trouble. It led her to be in a troubling situation because she kept talking. It's unfortunate. Proverbs 9 and 13. A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knoweth nothing. And a lot of sisters, a lot of our women, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American women, are very foolish women because we refuse to take correction. This is Proverbs 15 and 10. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. So correction is grievous to a lot of sisters. And they hate getting correction. They hate getting reproof. And they end up dying. Some physically. Some end up falling out the truth. Because they can't stand the fact that somebody told them they shouldn't be doing this. Or they shouldn't be doing that. The busybody in other men's matters. Or they need to be silent. Correction is grievous to our sisters. And if you have a problem taking correction, you have to examine yourself and say, dang, let me ask the Most High to please put the Spirit on me where I'm able to take correction so I can grow through the Spirit, so He can continue to bless me with more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. For a while, it was hard for me to take correction. I would know deep down inside I was wrong. I would be like, dang, I know. But I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to tell them they was right about it. I'm not going to take the correction. I know I'm wrong, but I'm not going to take it. And that's prideful. And the Lord hates a prideful person. The Lord hates. Yes, 7 are an abomination to him. A proud look. A proud look is one of the things that the Lord hates. Being prideful. not being able to admit when you're wrong, not being able to take correction. The Lord hates that. And once you realize, like, dang, the Lord really hates this, I need to do better. I need to do better. We refuse to learn from situations because we're so prideful. Okay? Because if you knew something, if sisters would know something, they would know, like, look, I'm about to be quiet and leave because you ain't about to do nothing to me. You ain't about to put your hands on me. No, I'm out. And just let's look at some of the comments of our women. Someone said he should have kept his effing hands to himself, which he should have. He should have kept his hands to himself. Okay? He should have did that, but he didn't. He didn't. And that's why he's in a position that he's in now, unfortunately. Okay? Then this person proceeds to say her son did what needed to be done because the fool was recording wasn't doing anything. The people who was recording had families to go back to, homes to go to, people that loved them. They in Chicago. They was not trying to get shot because this woman couldn't be quiet. Person says, and their name is Demon. I don't know what shows you how bugged out our people are. Y'all gotta realize we shouldn't have to live in fear. And we damn sure shouldn't have to be quiet either. That man should have kept his effing mouth shut. No, the woman should have kept her mouth shut. The man should have kept his hands to himself. It's not about living in fear because we only fear the Lord at the end of the day. But we do know when, and we have to understand when it's time to be quiet. 2025, there be a controversy between men and they come into judgment that the judges may judge them, then they shall justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. And that's kind of like the situation. To me, in both situations, the woman was wicked and the man was wicked. I don't think that boy was wicked. I think that he was trying to protect his mother and he just ended up being in a jammed up situation because of his mom. I don't think he was wicked. I think he was trying to do what he thought was best. It's unfortunate, but let's continue to read. And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down and to be beaten before his face according to his fault by a certain number. And it says by a certain number. That's how you know Jake, you was getting jumped. You was getting jumped during those times. If you was doing something outlandish, you was being wicked, by a certain number of people, you was getting jumped. Okay, 40 stripes he may give him and not exceed, least if he should exceed and beat him above these with many stripes, then thy brother should seem vile unto thee. Okay, but let's go down to this verse, to 11, Deuteronomy 25:11. When men strive together one with another, and the wife of the one draweth near for to deliver her husband out of the hand of him that smiteth him, and put forth her hand, and taketh him by the secrets, then thou shalt cut off her hand, thy eye shall not pity her. Okay, so you, even as a woman, if your husband is getting into an altercation, you kind of have to just be like, oh my gosh, stay safe. Hey, watch out. Whatever you can say, throw up a prayer, but do not physically jump into a men's matter to try to help anybody. Okay? Don't try to jump into a men's matter to try to deliver that, help your husband. Because even back then in the ancient world, if a woman were to grab a man's junk, your hand would have to get cut off. All because you kind of were being a busybody in other men's matters. That's your husband at the end of the day, but you still shouldn't have placed yourself in that situation. And the Lord has judgment for when sisters do kind of get into a situation that has nothing to do with them. They would have got their hand cut off if, she would have touched his private parts. And the thing about that is that that just goes to show you that when a fight happens, anything is bound to happen. Fights move so fast. If you ever gotten into a fight before, when I was in school, back in my school days, I used to fight all the time. Anything is bound to happen in a fight because you're not really thinking, because you're in the moment. So if you get into a fight and you're in the moment, it's no telling what you would do. But the Lord could have a judgment for you. It might not be you getting your hand cut off, but the Lord could have a judgment for you for being a busybody in other men's matters or jumping into a fight with grown men as a woman. So if you see somebody out and about and your husband get into a fight, or you see people get into a fight, don't break it up. That's their fight. You don't want to be a busybody in other men's matters. All you can do is throw a prayer, wish them the best. Okay? And this is all according to the word of the Lord. This is Psalms 119 and 165. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. So nothing in this word should offend sisters. We should not be offended by the words of the Lord. We shouldn't be offended that it was a law, and in the ancient world, sisters was getting their hands cut off if they were in that type of situation. But, basically what I'm trying to say through the Spirit is that sisters just have to be more mindful about how they move in these last days. If someone's threatening you, walk away. If you see your husband getting in a situation where he's getting into a fight, stay in your place. It's okay to be silent, to prevent yourself from being in harm's way. And as mothers, our main job on this earth is to protect our children and to raise our children up righteously. So if you put yourself in a position where you can die, it's kind of like you don't even care about your kids. We automatically go into survival instincts when we feel like our family is being threatened. And our main instinct is to protect ourselves and to protect our children. We don't put ourselves in harm's way. We stay out the way and we protect our family. Now, if somebody were to break into your house, if somebody were to try to take your child, then is certain ways that you react. But there's also ways in certain situations where you have to know how to walk away. It's a time and a place for everything. And we can get that precept. Ecclesiasticus chapter 3. I'm going to start at 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. I'm going to skip down to 6. A time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak. There's a time when you can keep silence. Then there's a time to speak. It's a time to keep silence when somebody's threatening you with your life if you don't be quiet. Then there's a time to speak. If someone's trying to, Lord forbid, take your child, you're going to scream and speak for help. Verse 8, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time of peace. Okay? You have to use wisdom. And that wisdom is what is going to keep us stable in these last days. It's Isaiah 33 and 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and the strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. So this wisdom and the Lord's knowledge and his understanding, that's what's going to keep us stable in these last days. Us repenting every day, us striving for perfection, us keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what's going to keep our minds stable so that we're able to move in wisdom. We're able to perceive when it's time to speak and when it's time to be silent. So, Kol Halo Yahweh B'Shem Hamashiach Wa Malak Yahushai. All praises to the Most High. I feel bad for that family. I feel bad for that mother and that daughter that lost their life and that brother that took his life. I feel bad for that brother that lost his life because he had those demons on him. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that that brother had to shoot that man to protect his mother because she couldn't be quiet. It's sad. But we in these last days. 2 Esdras 14 and 16. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. So this is nothing. This is nothing compared to the things that we're going to see in these last days. So continue to brace yourself for the things that's to come. Don't give your mind over to heaviness, but continue to pray and fast and ask the Most High to dwell with you and your family, and that He continues to bless y'all with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because the days are evil and the time is at hand. Shalom, love y'all.